You're listening to High School Sports Talk on ESPN Radio, presented by VirginiaPreps.com. Now back to your hosts, Matt Hatfield and the coach, Ed Young.
Another Aretha great, Rock Steady, which you know that means Respect is our last one of the morning.
Yeah, but the Rock Steady, I don't associate that with her. I think a lot of other people have done that, but she does. Is that one of her originals? There's a lot of people have done that song, but she does it well.
Yeah, well, the other one, Say a Little Prayer for You, Dionne Warwick did that one too. So, at this time, we bring in a special guest. He's been waiting so patiently. We thank him for coming on this morning. It's with the Virginian-Pilot and 757teams.com. We say good morning to our pal, Larry Rubama. Larry, how's your summer been? It's almost over.
Yeah, it's been over, man. It's been over for at least a month and a half. But it's all good. I'm glad I got a job and a chance to be able to do what I love. You know, football season is always the best season, so it's good. It's good.
Amen to that. And Ed is dreading the return of school, so this is a month where he gets really sad and doom and gloomy.
I was known to cry yesterday a little bit. I'll cry this week coming up because Thursday we have to get back to school as teachers for 7 days of getting in each other's way. So, Larry, give me what's your favorite Aretha song?
I go old school, man. She does anything that she's saying gospel was just amazing. I was watching a couple of programs this weekend after she passed, and man, she could put chills down your spine, make goosebumps come up. You know, some of the ones I saw when she sang at President Barack Obama's at his inauguration, as well as she did another one. I believe she sang for President Bush, the second president, and just the way she could do things was amazing. And then I didn't realize as well as her being able to sing opera as well. I saw a couple scenes from that as well, but she just amazing. I mean, I sat there listening to her songs probably the last 2-3 days, just reminiscing, man.
Well, I'll tell you what, if there ever was a legend that probably could do any type of music, including today's rap, Aretha could have done it. She definitely could have done it. And we don't have those kind much anymore, so that's why we say legend icon status. And when I heard of her passing too, I'm like, wow, I kind of grew up on some of her music and hated to see it, but it was tough.
Yeah.
Now you said summer's almost over. Did you get a chance to do any kind of vacation? Because coming up now, boy, you're going to hit the floor running. So any vacation time?
Not really. I just went to go check on family. I got 2 grandparents who are 90 years old, 2 grandmothers. So I went and checked on them up in Syracuse, New York. Went to go check on my mother up in D.C., and then I went down to South Carolina. But I took my big vacation back in May. We went to Dominican Republic.
Oh, nice.
Nice. Yeah, it was nice. It was nice. But like you said, it's over, so get ready for the grind.
No doubt about it, a grind. Let's start there, Larry. You guys have the great top 50 list out, the previews on all the districts, the beach, the eastern, the southeastern, and the private schools. But before we kind of hit some of these games coming up and things of that nature, give me a couple of storylines that are sticking out to you going into this season. It could be some players, some teams, coaching changes that kind of are things that you'll be following really closely that you think a lot of people will be talking about this year.
I tell you one that's got me really, really excited. I'm looking to see what Maury's going to do in the Eastern District. Dyrie's done he's a very good, he's an emotional leader, and he's got some talent that's come in as well as talent that's already there. And I'm interested to see what they can do. I mean, you bring in Avante Lawton as quarterback, and you throw into him together with DeAndre, and then you throw in Sheridan. I think they could be something special. And I went to one of their practices, and I watched how he used half a gym. It was the time when we had all that rain. He had half a gym, and he had 3 different types of drills going on: a passing drill, a blocking drill, and he had running backs, and just a half a gym. And then, in fact, you go to my Twitter page, you can see it. And to see what he was able to do with that little bit of space was amazing. And I just see his enthusiasm. I think it's going to rub off. Also in the Eastern District, I'm looking to see what Northie does. New coach who's done well, and I'm interested to see what they're going to do in the district as well. I think that could be a surprise district. I think, of course, you already know about Lake Taylor, and of course, you got Northam's going to be good again. But I think that's going to be a real interesting one. The other one I'm looking forward to is seeing if Oscar Smith gets it done this year. They've had a lot of been there so close, knocking on the door, and over there they just rebuild. And now you got Cameron Kelly over there, playing quarterback and probably doing some other things. And then you're going to have Brequan Harrell for the whole season. And then, they got a running back who just really impressed me. I forgot his first name, but his last name was Bray.
Oh, Joseph Bray, yeah.
Joe Bray.
Yeah.
Joseph Bray looked really good. The scrimmage I saw him against Phoebus. That defensive line, now you add DeAndre Davis, the young man from Texas who played on a team that won a state title, as well as they were ranked nationally at the end of the season. He comes in at defensive end. I really like to see what Oscar Smith's going to do. And then Ocean Lakes, I like what I'm looking to see Ocean Lakes, what they do. Xander Legic, the quarterback, already had a good offense last year. Now you bring in Tavion Tank and you bring in Lowe. I'm interested to see how they do. And then you also one more. I can't wait to see Tavion Robinson. What he's going to do this year. Just an amazing talent. From talking to people when I did the top 50, how he really showed what he could do last year, and now he's excited about the season coming up. And I know you were at the game, I believe, the game against Cox and Oscar Smith, how, you can't do it single-handedly, but to see how he kept Cox in the game right there to knock out Oscar Smith. I mean, he was doing everything, defense, offense. I mean, he was just doing it all. And to have Cox right there battling with Oscar Smith last year, I mean, just shows what he can do.
And, of course, you guys had him as the Tidewater Athlete of the Year, and rightfully so. He was great in football and basketball, and following the likes of guys such as Justin Hunter and Grant Holloway and Percy Harvin. Larry, the Eastern District is interesting to me because I think every year we sort of look at either the Beach or the Southeastern as the strongest district, and while that still may be the case this year, I feel like the Eastern District has, if they were lacking in ground, they've caught up, and it's deeper than it's been in a while.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, with Reginald Shavers coming over there at Northview, I was just, he beat Hank in the playoffs last year, so we know he can coach. And then you got Dominic Grooms. Here's a guy from Florida who knows how important football is, comes to this area, and the excitement that he has. I mean, he feels really excited. And then, and then you look at the talent that Larry Archie has. And we already talked about Darby McCain. I mean, it's going to be a real interesting, and the whole, I can't even forget about Booker T. Washington. You got Rodney Hammond coming back. So it's going to be, you're right. I mean, every week it's going to be interesting to see, what happens and how it's going to all shake out at the end. I mean, it's going to be, I think it's going to be some great games.
Well, Larry, I'm trying to put my arms around how the season will look for each district too. But one of the things that pops out of my head real quick that I have to ask you is jump over to the private school sector real quick. Bishop Sullivan not in the top 10. I'm a little bit surprised. What's going on with Bishop Sullivan?
I can't speak for everybody else, but the reason why I didn't put them in, for one is they have nothing to play for. But my big thing is I want to see how they do against Gonzaga. Well, teams from my old neighborhood, they play Gonzaga, and they also play my old school, my alma mater, Good Counsel. They win those games, and I can put them up there. But it's so hard because it's almost a different animal because they don't play any teams locally. Except for Norfolk Christian. So it's hard to gauge. So do you just put a team up there at number 1 or number 2 or number 3 based on the talent they have? It makes it difficult. And that's kind of a thing that we've had to deal with the last couple of years. And I say, they beat Gonzaga, and last year they had some really, really close games against those teams, against those a lot of nationally ranked teams. If they beat those teams, then they'll, at least in my vote, I'll put them up there. But I got to see what they do. They lost a lot. I mean, you figure they lost Sheridan Jones, they lost Jake Lowe, they lost Tank, Tavion Land. So I'm interested to see what they have. But I know he's loaded in terms of the junior class that's coming up. I mean, he's got 5 wide receivers that can go start for anybody. So, and they got a young quarterback coming in. He's only a sophomore coming in. So I'm interested to see what he's going to do. But like I said, when they beat somebody, then I'll give them their props. But until then, it's just hard. How do you rank a team that doesn't play anybody in the area?
And it's Larry, to ask you also, as you make your preseason rankings, do you kind of base yours on how they were last year, what's coming back, or more of a projection of what you believe they're going to be this year, which hasn't even obviously played out?
Right.
A combination. How do you do that?
And again, I can only speak for me because I know we have 5 different voters. I look at what they're going to do. I look a little bit of last season, but last season is last season. You ask any coach, well, we won this. No, when they get back on the field for the next season, they don't even think about last year. Last year's behind. You got to think about what they're going to do in the future. So I look at what they're going to do in the season to come, which is why, I want to, last time was, unbeaten last year, and I wanted to put them in my rankings. I was thinking, well, you got to replace Brent Stooks. That was huge. And you got Joseph White. You're talking about too talented. And then all the linemen that they lost as well. So it's hard for me to put them in my top 10 right now. But I know Tommy Reeman's going to prove me wrong. He does it every year. He definitely lets me know about it. I love him. He's a great guy. But that's why I couldn't put them in my top 10 right now. So I look at what they're going to do this season. Last season's behind. I mean, who cares about last season's gone. Now we're playing this season. There's a lot of changes, as you know, a lot of different transfers, a lot of things that are going on this year. So I look at this year, what they can do this year.
Chatting with Larry Rubama, the Virginian-Pilot, and 757 teams here on High School Sports Talk, presented by VirginiaPreps.com on ESPN Radio 94.1. Make sure you follow Larry's work on the Virginian-Pilot, 757teams.com, and on Twitter, too, at LH Rubama, Ed.
Larry, we got some interesting openers coming up. I was going to kind of see what you're thinking of any of them. I see Oscar Smith's taking on West Forsyth out of North Carolina, I believe, Cox Bayside. What do you see?
I'm interested for the Cox Bayside. That's the game I'm going to be going to. You know, last year we had high expectations for Cox, and Bayside went in there and blew them out. This year I was over at Cox we did our little thing. We went to different schools, these two-a-day approaches that we did, and I remember talking to those guys, some of the guys over there, and they're like, yeah, we're not going to overlook him this time. But, you know, the thing about John White, every single year, you count him out, and he's going to prove you wrong. Every year he's got talent, and he can do it. So that game, right off the bat, you know, for the Beach District, it's going to be a huge game. So I'm interested to see what happens. I want to see what Tavion does, but I also want to see what Bayside's going to do. He's got a lot of great skilled players. The only thing that they always lack every year is the depth at line. They got linemen, but if you get an injury or they're not tired, you know, they get tired or whatever, that's the only thing that hurts Bayside. But I really like, you know, the Marlins again this year, and to see what they're going to do. But I think that, to me, that's going to be a big game. And then the one with Oscar Smith, we don't know much about the team that's coming up from West Forsyth, but I do know that each year they're always a good team. So that's going to be another big challenge. I wish they would have played even a better team, but I mean they're playing a real good team that's coming in. So I think people will get a chance to see what Oscar Smith is about, and you know they're going to be ready for sure.
Yeah, and of course they always put that big out-of-state matchup or a TV game in the past. Oscar Smith has. You mentioned that Cox Bayside game, Larry. I'm interested by that one too, and that you guys had Keontae Jenkins, a newcomer for Cox. I know he's related to Levante Taylor from Ocean Lakes and now Florida State. You got him as a top junior in area. Bayside's got a new face. It's a big-time junior, and Cameron LeBourne, younger brother of another ex-Ocean Lakes and Bishop Sullivan guy, and Kalen LeBourne. Every year we have a breakout guy that maybe not be on the radar. Is there one? It could be from one of those schools or another school in area, you could say, watch out for this kid. Maybe not a lot of people know about him, but he could really help elevate his team to new heights.
Well, I'm going to go by what Tommy Reeman said. And you also had the same thing. He talks about Tavion Lane. He calls him the breakout player. And I saw the young man, spoke to the young man, very, very personable young man. I'm interested to see what he's going to do. Tommy put a whole lot of pressure on him saying that. But look, if he can live up to it, it's going to be interesting. The other player I'm interested to see, when I was doing my rankings, was talking to different coaches about, I hope I say his name right, Asha Moore, the linebacker over Indian River.
Yes.
Hasn't played the last 2 seasons in terms of eligibility. But I've been just hearing a lot of people saying how good this could be. In fact, one coach I talked to says he's like an urban legend because you hear so much about him, but there's no film to see what he can do. But from what I'm hearing, what he did during the preseason, that he looked really good. I'm interested to definitely see him. And I'm always interested to see what Horace Sawyer does. He played the linebacker, Oscar Smith. You know, I think he got overshadowed a little bit last year because of Keyshawn Artis, and rightly so. But I think he's going to be a guy to watch this year for Oscar Smith in the middle. I'm interested to see what he does.
Larry, I'm hearing a lot of stuff about Indian River. Got some key transfers in. They got the Smiley kid, probably the best lineman in the area. Well, what's your take on Indian River?
I mean, I really like them. Now, they, you know, although they got a couple of transfers, they also lost a couple of guys that I can't think.
Jerry and Christopher, right?
Yes, right. And then they lost a defensive back as well. But I got to see them play one of the scrimmages early, and I was real impressed. You know, they got Dominique Brooks coming over from Oscar Smith, so his experience will help. But the one thing I did like about him was they didn't let him stay in the pocket much. They're just getting the ball out of his hands. And you get it into the hands of the guys that he's got, oh, my goodness, they are going to be something. You know, I like their defensive backs as well, linebacker, and of course you got Smiley on the line. Rasheed Brooks moved over from quarterback to wide receiver. I was talking to another coach who talked about how his route running is real crisp and he's quick and he's going to make things happen. Charles Dixon at linebacker. That's a team I'm really, really interested to see. That game against Oscar Smith, oh my goodness, it's going to be something. It's going to be something. And that's always a huge rivalry. As games always played on Saturday now, and I think you can expect a packed house. I mean, it's going to be standing room only for that game. And I'm hearing people already on Twitter and different social media is already talking about that game. It's going to be a while. I think they don't play it until November, but I think that's a game definitely to watch. And Indian River, I know they got to be kind of upset that they weren't the team to stop the streak, but they'll see if they can beat Oscar Smith this time. But, yeah, Indian River, I'm really interested in seeing what they do this year.
You get the sense that it has Game of the Year potential because last year Oscar Smith's often involved in that Game of the Year, whether it's, they win or lose it. Generally, they win them. But right. Last year with them in Kings Fork, that was the Game of the Year. There's certainly some candidates in the Beach and Eastern, but that's the one you probably circle right off the bat, Oscar Smith, Indian River.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. And, the thing is, a lot of those kids grew up together, going to middle school together and so close in terms of just the rivalry that's been around for years. And, with Richard Morgan coming over there, he really helped throw some, threw some fire on that thing to make it even bigger. And then there's just a lot of respect for both teams, but there's also a lot of talking and a lot of great athletes that come out of that game. I mean, that game could have potentially probably more than 20, 25 future Division I players in that game. And it's a huge rivalry game. That's what I'm definitely looking for. I'm glad we played on a Saturday, too. So hopefully it'll be nice weather.
Larry, got to ask you, my school, Nazareth River, what's your take? Justin Conyers taking over the program.
Oh, I like, I like it. I think that, I'll be the first to say, I don't know if you knew it, Matt, but I did not expect what they did last year.
I didn't either.
And they changed, the thing about it is they changed the offense late in the season, said, let's do this. They went to it, and it worked. So I'm really interested in what Justin does. Justin, here he is now taking over the team. I think he's going to do really well. He's got a lot of talent. He's got a lot of good linemen. I love Kevin Johnson, Keyshawn Gordon, running back, defensive back. He's going to help Rashad Williamson. So they got a lot of talent, and I think they want to prove, and I know he wants to prove that last year wasn't a fluke. But that's a tough Division V that they got to play, but I think they're going to do well. I think they want to prove to everybody that last year wasn't a fluke. So I'm interested to see what the Warriors are going to do this year.
Now, Larry, we had David Johnson on earlier, and I didn't ask him this question. I meant to, but I'm definitely going to ask you. With the Pilot and the Press coming under one umbrella, and I've noticed, you guys exchanging stories from each paper.
Yeah.
What kind of effect will it do on high school? Because I know in the past you guys did like your rankings or your ratings, your standings, but neither paper really took from the other. Is that going to change, or we don't know yet?
Well, I know we'll share in terms of stories. And actually, people don't realize we've been doing that for probably about 2 or 3 years now, maybe even more. Especially during the playoff times. I mean, I know this past spring I wrote at least 6 or 7 stories for the Daily Press. But in terms of, nobody's told me anything different. Like, one person says, well, how come you don't put the Peninsula in your top 50? I said, this top 50 has been going on since 2004. I've never had it, so I'm not going to start. Until somebody tells me different, I'm not going to worry about it. Same thing with the rankings. Until they tell me differently, I'm going to keep doing what I do because I know this side. But, who knows? Who knows what the future is out of my hands. That's a higher pay standard I definitely have. But until they tell me differently, I'm going to just keep doing what I do. It's enough trying to keep up with all the teams we got on our side already. But who knows? Maybe it could change in the future. As of right now, today, I'm just sticking with Southside. That's enough for me.
Well, I could say you're right because it's so many schools to go on. Now, what did you have anything coming up some stories coming up that you want to go ahead and pub on the air right now?
Yeah, I got a story coming out. It might be online already, but I did a story where I talked to 5 old school coaches. I was looking through. We got like 16 coaches. More than half the coaches are under 40. And it got me to thinking, you know what? I don't want to call them dinosaurs, so I'm not going to offend them, but I call them seasoned coaches. You know how you talk to older people that say, I'm seasoned, so they're seasoned guys. But I did a story with Tommy Riemann, Hank Sawyer, Larry Archie, Joe Jones, as Chris DeWitt, and just talk to them about what they're like coaching in this time, why they're still doing it. I mean, these guys together have over 100 years of experience as head coaches. And it was and to me, I thought it was just an interesting story because you could do just a feature story of just one, but to do all of them, kind of get their thoughts about why they got into this game, the passion that they still have. Joe Jones, he drives every day from Suffolk to Ocean Lakes every day. And how can you still do that even at this time? So I hope people like it. It's just a story on these guys, on what they faced, and the challenges and how things have changed and how they're still around, doing what they love to do, having the passion that they have and the lives that they touch. I mean, every coach talked about, wins and state titles is great, but the lives that you change. Every one of them said, when a kid comes back and he tells you how you touched their life, or a kid buys a new car, he comes back and wants you to see it, a kid gets married and he invites you to it. Those are the things, the reason why these coaches are still in it. The wins and the titles are great, but they say that touching lives is important, and we need more of that. We see so many youth who are just out there. We need more mentors, and these coaches are. Some of these coaches are sometimes these kids' mother, father, uncle, all that. And it helps. But I hope people like that story. It'll be in tomorrow's Virginia-Pilot. I hope they enjoy it.
Sounds like a good one.
You can follow him on Twitter at LH Rubama. It's LH Rubama. Also see his work in the Virginian-Pilot and online at 757teams.com. He and the gang over there, Jamie Frankenberry and Larry and Kyle Hampson and Ray Nemo. I know I'm missing some people, but they do a great job over there. Larry, thanks so much. Always a pleasure, and I'm sure I'll see you on the gridiron soon.
We got another young lady named Sean. You got to definitely watch out for her too. She's seen a lot of her as well. Yeah.
Okay, that's Sean Wilkerson, I think it is.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So there you go. Give her a pop as well. Larry, thanks so much. I'll see you soon.
Hey, Larry.
Ed's got something.
Matt and I were watching some stuff on ESPN, and we found your lookalike, because Matt's real big on doing lookalikes.
Ed's is Robert De Niro. Ed's is Robert De Niro, by the way.
And we found. Has anybody ever told you Darren Woodson, former Cowboy safety?
No. I've heard some people tell me Mike Wilbon when I used to wear glasses. But I heard, okay.
Darren Woodson in the face, and that's a good comparison because he does a good job. Of course, he was a heck of a player, but
he's a handsome. I wish I had his bank account too.
Well, that would be nice, yeah. And I wish I had Robert De Niro's bank account. Wow.
Yeah. Hey, you guys were talking about quotes, and
yes,
coaches who are good. And when I heard that, I was thinking, oh man, I tell you, I was going to run through a couple.
Go ahead. What you got?
Great. Yeah, Scotty Little, he's great. He's great. He's a young coach. Chris DeWitt is amazing. He's amazing. Larry Archie has some good ones. But I went back. I started thinking some old school guys. Chris Beatty was awesome. Mm-hmm. Lou Johnson was great. But my all-time favorite, the late, great Norcom Joe Langston.
That's a classic one,
He could give you stuff that you said, what? Stuff like, he's so poor he don't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. He goes way back with some of those, and he was great. He gave you those old school ones that just made you shake your head like, yeah, that's all right.
That's good. I like that. Hey, Larry, thanks so much for the time this morning. I'll see you soon.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Larry.
I'll see you guys soon.
Absolutely. That is Larry Rubama from the Virginian-Pilot, 757teams.com. Pilot Online, they do an excellent job over there.